and most fearsome warrior groups in history. Picture this. You're in ancient times, where the bravest of the brave roamed the earth. Among them are the Spartans, the Spartan warriors. Now that was a breed apart. Known for their ironclad discipline and fearsome reputation, these warriors were not to be messed with. Born into a society that valued physical prowess above all else, every Spartan's life was a testament to resilience. From the tender age of 7, they were separated from their families and thrown into a rigorous training regimen known as the agoge. This wasn't just about swinging a sword or throwing a spear. It was about molding their minds and bodies into the perfect weapon. It involved learning survival tactics, how to hunt, endure hunger, cold, fatigue, and master pain management. Vanity, luxury, those were foreign concepts. Spartans were raised under the warrior ethos, their lives stripped down to the bare necessities. Their homes were simple, their meals even simpler. A bowl of black broth was all they needed. Delving deeper into their military, the Spartans had an elite troop known as the hoplites. Named after their shield, the hoplon, these were the epitome of discipline and strength. They marched into battle in a formation known as the phalanx, their shields locked together, presenting a wall of bronze to the enemy. Their crowning glory was the Battle of Thermopylae. Defying insurmountable odds, a paltry 300 Spartans held off an army of thousands. Their courage and unity were legendary. They battled until their last breath, their names forever etched into as the embodiment of valor. Imagine yourself in a modern gym. There's you struggling on the treadmill, sweating under the weight of your dumbbells. Then a Spartan struts in, sporting nothing but a loincloth and a spear. He scoffs at your kettlebells, dismissing them as child's play. He scoffs at your protein shake, preferring his trusty bowl of black broth. He scoffs at your motivational playlist, for his mind is his own best motivator. It's almost comical, isn't it? Our modern-day gym routines pale in comparison to the rigorous lifestyle of a Spartan warrior. It begs the question, who's the real warrior here? So if you think your gym routine is tough, just remember, you could have been a Spartan. But Spartans were not the only fearsome warriors of history. Let's venture north, to the icy lands of the Vikings, particularly the ruthless berserkers. But that's a tale for another time. From the rough terrains of Greece, we gallop over to the vast plains of North America, home to the formidable Comanches. These riders of the plains were a force to be reckoned with. Their prowess on horseback was unmatched. They were not just riders, they were one with their horses, a seamless blend of man and beast that struck awe and terror in the hearts of their foes. Their strategic warfare was a thing of beauty, a masterful blend of speed, agility, and precision. But here's the surprising bit. When not engaged in battle, the Comanches led relatively peaceful lives. They were ranchers, tending to their livestock with the same dedication and skill they brought to the battlefield. Their lives were a fascinating blend of ferocity and tranquility, a testament to their adaptability and resilience. Who knew? The Comanches, fearsome warriors by day, peaceful ranchers by night. Leaving the peaceful plains, we stumble into the chaotic world of the barbarians. Now hold on to your hats, or should I say helmets, as we dive into the messy, tumultuous, and yes, somewhat disorganized world of these unconventional warriors. The term barbarian was actually a bit of an umbrella term used by the Romans, a bit like calling every type of pasta spaghetti. It was used to describe a wide range of tribes from different regions, all with their own unique cultures, languages, and yes, their own unique ways of causing a ruckus. There were the Goths, Vandals, and the Huns, just to name a few. And while they might not have had the rigid discipline of the Roman legions or the strategic prowess of the Spartans, don't be fooled, these tribes were a force to be reckoned with on the battlefield. Their warfare style was less chess match and more free-for-all wrestling match, but it worked for them. But let's not forget their contribution to civilization. They may not have built grand colosseums or intricate aqueducts, but the barbarians had a knack for taking what they liked from the civilizations they encountered and adapting it to their own needs, a bit like an ancient version of cultural remixing, if you will. And let's not overlook their love for a good party. Barbarian feasts are legendary, with tales of meat, mead, and merriment that would put any modern-day festival to shame. So, while they might not have been the most organized bunch, they certainly knew how to have a good time. Despite their reputation, barbarians were not just mindless brutes. They were resilient, adaptable, and had a fierce love of freedom. They may have been unruly, but they also had a sense of community and loyalty that was truly admirable. So next time you're called a barbarian, just remember, you're in good, if somewhat unruly, company. We bid the barbarians goodbye and sail onto the shores of the Anglo-Saxons. Ah, the Anglo-Saxons, those sword-wielding islanders. They didn't just wield swords, you see, they also wielded a mighty influence on what we now know as modern English culture and language. They were rather handy with words, their Old English transforming over centuries into the language we speak today. You could say they were the original wordsmiths, and let's not forget their love for mead. Yes, indeed, these fearless warriors had a soft spot for this honey-based brew. Picture this. After a long day of sword-wielding and wordsmithing, they'd kick back with a hearty jug of mead. Makes you wonder if a good old pub crawl was an Anglo-Saxon invention. So, next time you're enjoying a pint at your local, spare a thought for the Anglo-Saxons. After all, they might just be the reason you're there. So if you enjoy a good pint, you have the Anglo-Saxons to thank. From the misty Isles of Britain, we journeyed to the majestic mountains of Peru, where Tupac Amaru II led a rebellion against Spanish rule. A descendant of Inca royalty, this brave man chose not to live in the shadow of his forebears, but to carve his own path in the annals of history. In the heart of the Andes, where the air is thin and the peaks kiss the heavens, a flame of rebellion was kindled. It was not a rebellion born from mere discontent, but from an unyielding desire for freedom and justice. This flame was fanned by none other than Tupac Amaru II, a man of courage and conviction. His name still echoes through the valleys, resonating with the spirit of resistance. He was not a king, but a muleteer, a common man who rose against the oppressive Spanish rule. His rebellion was fierce, his spirit indomitable, and his resolve ironclad. He rallied his people, the indigenous population, and led them in a revolt that shook the Spanish to their core. But here's a twist that might surprise you. Despite his courageous stand, Tupac Amaru II did not live to see his vision of a free Peru. He was captured and executed by the Spanish in the year 1781. A tragic end, you might think, but the story doesn't end there. In death, Tupac Amaru II became a symbol, a martyr, a beacon of hope for the oppressed. His name lived on, inspiring future generations to continue the fight for freedom. Today, he is revered as a national hero in Peru, his image gracing the country's currency and his legacy taught in schools across the nation. So, remember Tupac Amaru II, the rebel who became a symbol of freedom. His story is a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity, a reminder that even in the face of insurmountable odds, one man's courage can ignite the flame of revolution. His life and death serve as a timeless beacon, reminding us all that the fight for freedom is never in vain. From the high Andes, we descend into the heart of the Roman Empire. Imagine a civilization so advanced, so sophisticated that their military strategies still baffle historians today. That's the Roman Empire for you folks. With a hunger for conquest and a flair for the dramatic, the Romans were the masters of spectacle and grandeur. Their military tactics were as intricate as a spider's web, with each thread carefully woven to ensnare their enemies. Now let's not forget their love for entertainment. Gladiatorial games were their version of Monday Night Football, but instead of jerseys and helmets, they wore armor and brandished swords. And the field? A massive stone amphitheater filled with tens of thousands of spectators. Makes your local sports stadium seem a bit lackluster, doesn't it? These games were not just about brawn, but also about brains. The gladiators had to be strategic, calculating each move, each swing of the sword. Their lives literally hung in the balance. And the crowd, oh the crowd, they loved every minute of it. The roar of the crowd, the clash of the swords, the thrill of the fight. It was their own version of reality TV, only a tad more, let's say, visceral. And the Romans, bless their hearts, they did love a good spectacle. Everything had to be larger than life. If you thought your neighbor's Christmas lights were over the top, Imagine a city parade with elephants and tigers. That's right, they knew how to party. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating for a return to gladiatorial games, but you've got to admit the Romans knew how to make an impression. They were masters of their craft, whether it was on the battlefield or in the Colosseum. So the next time you're watching a sports match, just remember, the Romans did it first and they did it bigger.